Hey, it's Ron, and I want to tell you a story about business and how that story changed everything. The sound is what most everyone remembered. The low grind of paper feeding through shredders, steady as a metronome. It's after hours in late 2001 in the Houston office of a company called Arthur Andersen. The building smells like toner and coffee that's gone cold. Now, Arthur Andersen is an accounting firm, but it isn't just any other accounting and audit firm. It's one of the world's big five, with 85,000 employees and clients across every major industry. The company's stamp of approval sits on more financial audits than almost any firm in America, but tonight that credibility is being fed through a machine. A junior auditor leans over a stack of boxes labeled Enron, Audit 2000. She hesitates and glances at her supervisor and says, "You want me to do what?" He doesn't even look up. He just says, "Just keep it moving." Down the hall, the noise grows. Dozens of machines running at once, the hum echoing off the glass walls. Reams of paper are vanishing into plastic bins. Email servers are being wiped. Entire project folders disappeared overnight. See, a week earlier, the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, had opened an official inquiry into a company called Enron and their accounting practices. The directive from Arthur Andersen's management was vague, but it was also very clear. Follow the document retention policy. And everybody actually knew what that meant. Now, by the time Arthur Andersen's legal team, their general counsel, sent an all-hands memo to everyone to stop the shredding, it was too late. Nearly a ton of Enron-related material was already gone. And when Enron finally filed for bankruptcy in December, the world's fifth largest accounting firm was about to follow it into history. And that's because Andersen didn't just audit Enron, it enabled Enron. The same firm that certified Enron's numbers helped erase the evidence when those numbers stopped making sense. So what made a room full of professionals decide to keep the machines running nonstop instead of just telling the truth? How far could one night of shredding reach into the life of a global firm? And on December 23, 2001, how did those choices finally catch up with Arthur Andersen? From Business Basics, I'm Ron Trucks, and this is Business History, the daily podcast where we explain the stories that changed business forever. Every date of the year has a story where business reshaped the world. Today, December 23rd, that story takes us to 2001, when Enron fell and trust in business fell with it. At the start of the new millennium, Enron was everything Wall Street wanted a company to be. Bold, digital, untouchable. From a distance, it looked like the future of American enterprise. It was a Houston energy trading company that had reinvented itself as a high-tech powerhouse. Inside headquarters, the slogan said it all: "Ask why." Enron claimed it didn't just sell electricity or gas, it sold innovation. Ken Lay and Jeff Skilling talked about energy the way tech CEOs talk about data. They took utility contracts and turned them into tradable financial products, building a marketplace where they could broker anything. Bandwidth, weather futures, even pollution credits. On paper, it made Enron look unstoppable. But the real magic wasn't in the business model. It was in the accounting. Most people understand accrual accounting, recording income when it's earned and expenses when they're incurred. Clean, predictable, grounded in performance. But Enron didn't want grounded. They used what was called mark-to-market. It recorded profits the moment a deal was signed, not when the company actually delivered anything. If a 20-year contract looked profitable on day one, Enron booked 2 decades of projected income immediately onto their books. No waiting, no verification, no cash flow. Optimism became revenue. And the auditors? Arthur Andersen, one of the most respected accounting firms on the planet, signed off on every filing. Their approval made the numbers look legitimate. Investors saw a modern miracle, a company that seemed to create value out of thin air. Inside the company, the culture told the real story. Skilling's what he called rank and yank system forced employees to compete against each other, guaranteeing that ethics is what took the hit. When targets weren't met, numbers were just adjusted. When divisions missed expectations, they were hidden inside off-book partnerships designed to bury the losses elsewhere. By 2000, Enron was worth $70 billion on paper and nowhere near that in reality. It wasn't just running out of cash, it was running out of believers. By mid-2001, the illusion was starting to fray. Analysts who'd once praised Enron's genius started asking some simple questions. How exactly did the company make money? The answers got more confusing every quarter. The financial statements were full of subsidiaries with names like LJM1, Raptor, and Chuco, supposedly hedging Enron's risk, but in reality they were Enron doing business with itself. These, what they called special purpose entities, hid billions of dollars in debt and losses. On the surface, Enron looked profitable. Underneath, it was bleeding cash. Chief Financial Officer Andy Fastow engineered those deals, pocketing millions in personal fees while pretending to be protecting the shareholders. The board signed off, auditors approved, and Wall Street kept buying the story. Then the pressure started to hit. The dot-com bubble burst. Energy prices fell, and Enron's traders couldn't manufacture growth to match the hype that they'd been selling. Reporter Bethany McLean at Fortune magazine asked the question no one else would: is Enron overpriced? And that headline cracked the shell. Within months, the CFO Fastow was under investigation, Skilling resigned for personal reasons, and the SEC moved in. When Enron finally admitted it had overstated earnings by hundreds of millions of dollars, confidence completely collapsed. The stock that once touched $90 a share fell below $1 a share. By early December 2001, the company was out of cash and out of time. On December 2nd, it filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, then the largest corporate failure in U.S. history. But the real collapse, the one people would never forget, that was still coming.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
Three weeks later, on December 23, 2001, the city of Houston woke up to the sound of moving boxes. 4,000 Enron employees in Houston were told not to come back to work after Christmas. Security guards stood at the lobby doors as workers filed out of the Twin Towers, carrying what was left of their careers: a coffee mug, a family photo, a cardboard box. Retirement accounts had vanished. Most of those were tied to Enron stock, which was now worth pennies. Paychecks stopped. Some workers learned they had lost their savings and their jobs on the same morning. For a company once hailed as America's most innovative, the scene looked more like a foreclosure. And Arthur Andersen, the auditing firm, they would fall next. The firm that signed Enron's audits imploded under the weight of shredded evidence and destroyed credibility, taking 30,000 jobs with it. By spring, two corporations that had symbolized success no longer existed. Congress responded fast. The Sarbanes-Oxley Act of 2002 forced executives to personally certify financial statements, required internal controls, and put auditors under public oversight. Corporate governance became law instead of lip service. But the deeper consequences came that week before Christmas, when the camera showed thousands of middle-class employees walking out of a skyscraper that had once promised unlimited opportunity. Enron's final lesson wasn't about accounting. It was about trust, how fast it can build wealth, and how fast it can disappear. December 23, 2001, the day the lights went out in Houston, and with them, the illusion that the market polices itself. I'm Ron Trucks, and this is Business History, the daily podcast that finds the turning points behind the headlines. To hear more stories like this, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen. And if you're enjoying the stories, don't forget to subscribe and leave a quick review. It helps more people find the story behind the business. Want to actually understand business without the fluff or the buzzwords or the MBA language? Start by visiting businessdailypodcast.com.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely, and parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/Wondery.